Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's the Ms. D show and my name is Adora Stephanie Wodo and I am your host. So today, what am I going to be talking about? Topic for today, I'm going to be talking about how to handle unpleasant and negative colleagues at work and horrible bosses. I should have had a guest on this show, but I don't have a guest today. But however, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this topic anyway. Okay, guys, so how do you deal with horrible colleagues? How do you deal with unpleasant colleagues? How do you deal with rude colleagues at work? Colleagues that all they know how to do is gossip, talk about people and talk about you, and just generally be horrible to you. You know, try and make work for you horrible, try and paint you terrible before your bosses. And how do you deal with horrible bosses? See, I think I'm going to focus on horrible bosses first. In Nigeria. Sorry, this video, if you're watching from outside Nigeria, I know you guys have your issues with horrible bosses too, but let me talk about the Nigerian sector, especially the civil service sector. Like, it is crazy. Now, I don't know, some people would think they're not really horrible bosses in the office place in Nigeria. Maybe they're more of like bosses that are not in the millennials, and they're having to dealing with millennials. So it's like a clash of generations, and they find it really hard to have a synergy, so to say. Now, my issue here is extremely unpleasant bosses. So have you ever worked in a workplace where you have a boss who just thinks that maybe you think you're too smart, or you think that you know the work more than they do, and to be honest, they're intimidated by that, which we have a lot of that in Nigeria. So for most of us most of us millennials, or most of us who maybe have schooled abroad and have worked a bit abroad, we have a different mentality and approach to the workplace. But Nigeria is Oga Madam situation. It's top to bottom approach. They half of the time don't care about your opinion, don't care about your ideas. They just want you to do what they think you should do. And sometimes their ideas are quite archaic. Their ideas are not very, productive wise. Like, they don't produce a lot of productivity. They're still stuck in the ancient days, and we have new ideas of doing things. We have new ways of achieving results, but they don't want to hear it. Sometimes they know you're right, but they just don't want to give you credit for that. So they are intimidated and challenged by our great ideas. And then they deem us as too forward. They say we're too arrogant. We're too ITK. I too know it. We try to always show off because we think we have a bit of exposure, or we know a thing or two, and we're trying to undermine their knowledge or their position or power in the workplace. That's just one aspect of what I can't stand. But the worst is when they intentionally pick on you. And this is so sad in the Nigerian context, because most times it happens more with women, female bosses, undermining or just being outrightly horrible, or would I use the word bullying, to younger female staff or colleagues. So in my case in particular, I've had a female boss who just did not like me. Well, I've had a lot of female bosses who didn't like me. Reasons best known to them. Some of them just think I'm too loud. Some of them just think, oh, what does she think she is? In fact, let me be very honest. I've had a boss say to me that I'm too fat. Yes, this is body shaming in the workplace. That I have nothing to offer. That because I think I schooled abroad, I think I know a thing or two. That when I was interviewed for the job, I would have been placed in a particular department, which is the department where I was at the time, if they thought I was worth it, but I wasn't. That I obviously lobbied my way to that place, and that if I put a bit of effort in my weight loss, maybe I'll be worthy of being looked at twice. She actually went further to say that she was going to tell management to take me out of that department, because the department was responsible for the image of the corporation, and I didn't fit into that picture. Can you imagine that? Now, that's the kind of bullying you see in a workplace. God knows I would have literally, But I'm a decent girl. I was brought up right, so I kind of kept my cool to an extent till I was about to lose it. Now you hear bosses tell you things like, "Oh, you're what do you think you are, the kind of hair you wear, what kind of dress you wear, you're dressing. Why are you interested in my look? But I mean, I'm not saying you should look trashy to work, but when they start picking down to, certain things that are really not important. I mean, if you're looking at my presentation, if you're looking at my productivity, what I produce, and not picking on my hair or my lip color or my nail polish, sometimes some of those things are just, honestly speaking, obvious jealousy with women. I mean, we see that all the time everywhere, and it's just worse in the workplace. That being said, now think about when you're a female and you have male bosses who are trying to hit on you. That is rampant in Nigeria, and I'm sure some parts of the world as well. So you have a boss who is always checking you out, always asking you to come into his office, always saying to bend down and pick up files, always trying to touch your middle palm, telling you things like, do you want to meet up after work? Now, it's very hard to deal with those kind of bosses because they're your bosses, obviously. And in Nigeria, we have things like appraisal issues and just work ethics. They can frustrate you, and there's no one to report. HR in Nigeria is dead. In fact, if you go there, you just make your life worse. So sometimes you don't want to lose your job. You don't want to be appraised wrongly. You don't want to be picked on by your boss who hit on you and you didn't agree. So how do you deal with those kind of bosses? That's really what this video is about. How do you manage male bosses who are trying to hit on you and you still want to keep your job, do well, and still be appraised properly without coming across as rude in their faces or just raising unnecessary dust? I mean, personally, I would say you can be diplomatic. There are ways to smile and still act very naive, like act like you have no clue what he's talking about. Some of them will not come out right in your face. Some will. Some would, and some will still say things like, "Oh, you're very pretty. Well, don't you think you want? Thank you so much. So I really appreciate it. I have to go home now, so my mom needs me." To always find a reason to get away, but don't give out an average look like you're disgusting me. I'm going to report you or something. Try to be polite at the same time. Try to set the boundaries. A lot of people don't like me in my workplace and in other workplaces because they think I'm too flirty. They think I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. The truth is, I studied human resource. I understand how to manage human beings. I can be your best friend and your worst enemy at the same time. I am out in your face. I smile and play with everyone, and maybe I come across as a bit too forward or too flirty to some people, but trust me, it's all up here. You need to learn how to balance it. You need to know how to keep people in your friend space and still not come across as superficial or not come across as downright righteous, like this is disgusting. It is disgusting, but there are ways to handle these people, or just leave the job if you can't deal with it. But there are ways to manage them. But the female bosses are the worst. I don't know how to manage them. I mean, honestly, if it gets to the point, I'll just tell you off to your face. If you guys have better ideas on how to manage female bosses, please leave a comment below. I'd like to know how you manage your own female bosses who are horrible to you, or how you think I should. But trust me, if it's just too civil, I don't think I can handle it. I would just be ratchet. Like, I'll be ratchet like my red hair. I will bring out my claws if they come at me. But that's for bosses. How do you deal with horrible colleagues? Those ones that gossip. Those ones that want to make all they come to work to do from 9 till 5 about you. So that's how that girl in IT behaves. Oh, that's how that girl in finance. She's always shaky. What does she think she is? She always thinks she's hot. She's always wearing this. She's trying to talk to all the guys. What is your business? Is that what you came to work to do? Some people spend, if it's 8 hours a day, they spend 6 hours of the day gossiping about other people in the office. They have nothing else to do but to talk about somebody else. How does that make your life any better? How does it affect you that I have 4 boyfriends? Is that your business? Is that a workplace conversation? How does it affect you that, I look good? How does it affect you that I get away with saying things that you can't? Can we focus on the job? Can people actually pick on people based on the job and not talk about people's personal lives or how they go about things they do in the office and outside the office while you're at work? There are people who just want to talk about you everywhere, go around and paint you bad to bosses in different departments, paint you bad to fellow colleagues. Oh, that girl, oh, that boy, what does he think? How do you deal with this kind of people? How do you come and still smile? Hello, good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Jason. When you know that bitch be talking about me behind me all the time. Like, yeah, I have a bitch resting face, and a lot of people don't like me because they think I'm very arrogant. I don't care if you don't like me. You don't have to like me. But the truth is, there's some horrible colleagues that just want to make your life a living hell and impossible to work with. Those are the kind of people I'm talking about. So how do you manage them? How do you stay in the same work environment and try to stay sane sitting next to someone who has a horrible, disgusting attitude? As for me, I just smile and kill your heart out. You know that saying that says, your enemies hate to see you happy. My girl, keep being happy. In fact, I've had the boss tell me once I should stop smiling too much and dancing in the office all the time, that I'm always happy. And yes, she gets I'm a happy person, but the workplace is not a place to be jumping around being happy. I don't understand. I just want to be frustrated on top of the job when you're paying me how much. Girl, smile for your enemies to die. Okay, so leave a comment. Tell me how you manage horrible bosses and horrible colleagues, and let's chit and chat. Until I come your way again next time, it's ADA, Miss D, baby. Adora Stephanie Modo, and I remain your host on the Miss D Show. I bring love, light, and happiness. Bye, guys. See you in my next episode.